There are a heck of a lot of vehicles available in World of Tanks Blitz. In fact, over 500 tanks, which is an insane amount. So obviously when there are so many vehicles in the game, some are bound to be much worse than the average. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. My opinion on the top 5 worst vehicles available in World of Tanks Blitz. So let's get straight into it. I really hate to put this vehicle in the number 5 position for today's video, especially because some of you out there may have really enjoyed playing this tank at one time in Blitz, but unfortunately after update 8.2, the FV2-5B is just never the same vehicle. This tier 10 British Tech Tree Heavy tank has always been known for the gun, and before update 8.2, it had an incredible gun. It traded armor, hit points, and even mobility, all so it could have a very strong turret plus a 3,000 damage per minute gun. But not only did it have the DPM to boast, but it also has some of the best accuracy in tier 10. With .303 dispersion, fantastic aiming time, it really had everything you'd want. Really good penetration, Hesh obviously because it is a British tier 10, although weirdly enough the Badger doesn't get Hesh. But yeah, it's just so sad to see a vehicle that was all about the gun get the gun nerfed on it. I don't even know why Wargaming thought that was a good idea. So the DPM on update 8.2 went from around 3,000 to 2,700, which now means that the vehicle doesn't have the highest DPM for what it is. It also has really bad mobility, only going about 35 kilometers per hour. It's a massive tank, yet it has actually no armor. The sides are incredibly weak at only about 100 millimeters thick. The lower plate is massive and an easy target. It's got super weak track wheels. You can't even side scrape in it, and it's a rear turreted tank. It's like trying to side scrape in a VK-72, but worse. It's such a lame vehicle. It's got the lowest hit point pool in tier 10 for a heavy. You have to run sandbag armor on it, which means that you're even sacrificing more of something else like crew mastery. I really just get depressed and disappointed when I think of what Wargaming turned the FV2 and 5B into, and I guarantee that there are a lot of you guys out there that used to absolutely adore the tank, and nowadays it's just kind of a sad former version of itself. Why drive the 2 and 5B when I can drive a Super Conqueror, which has more gun depression, a front turreted design with better hull armor and better side armor. It's also got pretty similar DPM if you're running it fully equipped, same for the Chieftain Mark 6, and really the same for any other hull down heavy. So yeah, sorry 2 and 5B, but you're sliding right up into that top 5 position. Moving into the top 4 position, we, funny enough, have another tier 10 British vehicle, and it's also based off the exact same hull, the FV2 and 5B 183. Why does this vehicle fit into the top 4 position? Well, it's because there's no real reason why you drive a 183 apart from ruining somebody's day. The 183 is not a tank that was designed to win. Most vehicles in Blitz, even the 2 and 5B, have the goal behind them to win battles. But the 183, you 100% know every time you're pulling it out that you are most likely being a detriment to your team. You're gonna miss your shots, you're gonna most likely not pen, and you're gonna die. And when you die, you're not gonna be any help to anybody apart from your own selfish needs. And I don't blame people for running the vehicle. It's fun. I mean, I love running it myself. Being able to deal 1,300 damage on average to somebody that pulls around a corner unsuspectingly, ruining their day, it's kind of funny. But the sad truth is, when you play a 183, you objectively know that you are causing your team to have a lesser chance of winning if the enemy team does not have a 183 matched on their side. It is strictly a tank meant for the lulz, not for wins in any way, shape, or form. And because it solely relies on RNG, it is just one of those vehicles I have to be sliding into my top 4 slot because it's not a tank meant for winning, therefore it is one of the worst tanks to actually play and try to win in Blitz. Weirdly enough, keeping it with the rear-turreted vehicles, in number 3 we have the IS-Tush, a tier 8 Russian premium heavy tank. Most of the 122mm Russian heavies in tier 8 boast really bad gun handling, but in return they have really good armor, really solid turrets, and usually okay mobility. They're kind of the jack of all trades, plus they got pretty beefy alpha. When it comes to the IS-Tush, it has that definitely terrible accuracy, but it has no turret armor and as well no hull armor. It has 110 millimeters of lower plate armor. Its sides have no spaced armor whatsoever, and even if you try to side scrape in the tank, you can either penetrate through the turret that has cheeks that are about 120 thick, or you can just shoot right through the angled bits on the side that are also incredibly weak. The IS-Tush is a vehicle that makes you question, why would you buy it? It has a lot of potential. I think that if Wargaming did actually pay a bit of attention to it, they could buff it. But I was thinking last time I made a tier list talking about the worst tanks in Blitz, the WZ-111 was the tier 8 heavy I chose, and I started to think about it, why would I choose a 111 to be the worst when the IS-2 exists? It's worse in almost every way apart from having 7 degrees of gun depression, but that one savior is not going to score enough points to get out of today's listing. Gimmick or not, the IS-2 is quite a useless heavy tank. I swear I don't hate rear-turreted vehicles, but once again we have another rear-turreted tank making the list in the number 2 position, being the Vulcan. This tier 7 unidentified nation heavy tank really has nothing you would ever want going for a heavy tank. First of all, it has a massive chunk of hit points, which you would think is great, so it's a super heavy. It's got a lot of armor. I mean, it's the size of a double-decker garbage truck, and yes, it looks like a garbage truck too. It's absolutely hideous, but unfortunately it has no armor. It looks like it has armor all over. It's got spaced armor on the sides, the front's big and beefy until you aim at it with a tier 6 medium, and then you butter right through it. Yeah, the Vulcan's armor is about 150 to 170 at thickest, and that means any tier 8 you come up against are going to butter through your vehicle. Oh yeah, it also has no gun depression at 6 degrees, meaning that not only are you going to be buttered, but you're this massive Goliath that can't work any hull down position, so you're stuck out in the open, everybody's penetrating you, you're just a giant hit point pinata. It's kind of sad to watch these things bumble around the battlefield trying to act like they know what they're doing. And then last but not least, it carries a 350 alpha gun. It's actually a pretty nice gun apart from the fact that it has no accuracy whatsoever, and its penetration was left back at the garage because good luck penetrating any tier 8 heavies you come up against, especially with your absolutely abhorrid damage per minute. Yeah, the Vulcan is a tank that is definitely unique, but unique in every way that you don't want to be unique. You're like that special ed kid that got left behind in first grade. And then we get into the number 1 position. This should come to no surprise to a lot of you, but it's gonna be the Vindicator. Why is this vehicle so useless? Well, it's about every darn reason that I can come up with. First of all, it has the worst gun depression in the entire game. It has 2 degrees. It's almost the same amount of gun depression you have as looking over the rear of your FV4202. It's pretty incredible how bad it is. That means if you're on a slight incline, even at the slightest, you cannot hit enemy armor whatsoever. And then when we move further onto the gun, it also has the worst HE alpha for a 150mm, a true 150mm. That deals 640 on the standard. It only has like 910 on the HE, which if you compare it to the SU-152 that has 960, it makes no sense. The vehicle also only shoots heat and high explosive. That means that you have absolutely atrocious shell velocity. You can't cut through any spaced armor whatsoever, and if opponents are behind any sort of destructible object like a fence, even a little lamppost, and you end up hitting that lamppost in front of the opponent, guess what? You can't penetrate them. And then finally, we come over to the armor. Now, the Vindicator's armor has always been troll. However, Wargaming changed how armor highlighting works not too long ago, and basically that stuck the middle finger right up to the Vindicator because now armor highlighting shows where you penetrate the front of it. So anybody that was either new to the game or didn't understand how to penetrate this beast, well, now you do know how to penetrate it. The side armor is absolutely atrocious. You can even penetrate it with a lot of tier 7s and tier 8s, and the vehicle is a giant box, which means its camo is terrible. There is not a single reason why any person would want to drive a Vindicator apart for the memes. It is not a tank you will win in, and if you compare it to the SU-152, it is worse in literally every single aspect. But that's just my ranking of all the top 5 tanks in World of Tanks Blitz. Obviously, if you enjoyed today's video and you would like to see maybe the top 5 best, let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.